There are lots of reasons to consider multi-generational living. The pandemic and COVID taught us how important family and space really are. I'm Clay Robison, your mortgage sensei. And today, let's talk through some of the reasons and options available to you in multi-generational living. Number one, why are you considering multi-generational homes and living? Well, what happens is we need space. When we had COVID and the pandemic, we realized that my home is turned into my office or my classroom. So you want to have a specific area separated from the rest of the house where you can have that office and do your remote work or have that study area for your children when they're not able to go back to school. Now, this was also big for college students, and when they weren't able to go back to their semesters or quarters, and a lot of that was shut down. We had that personally with our daughter, where she couldn't go back to her university, and she was living in the house doing all of her work like a lot of your kids were. But we had some space out there that she could go ahead and do that. So that's why the multi-generation is important. Also, what about adult children that graduated from college or they're in career changes or whatever, and they need to come back and live with their parents? We're seeing this more and more. We know there's a shortage out there of housing. We know it's expensive to rent. So these could be some short-term gaps for your family. And the big one is aging parents and the cost of, you know, having them in a nursing home or in a care facility is expensive. So we're seeing a lot more of in-home care. We actually do that with our father. We have a multi-generational home, and our father, my father, lives with us, and he's 90 years old, and he sure prefers living with us than he does being at, some facility, some nursing facility or senior facility. Now, what are some of the areas that you can go into this? Well, the big one is what's called an ADU, an accessory dwelling unit. And that's typically also referred to as what? The old granny flat or the guest cottage or the guest house. Those are all now considered ADUs. And why is this a great option? Well, if you have enough space in your home and you can do this and build on that, it's great. So it'll probably increase the value of your home having this ADU on it. It also could be used for rental income. You can use it for an Airbnb. You can use it for when friends are coming over, or when you do have adult children come over, or you do have elderly parents come visit or friends visit. You can utilize that. And when you're not utilizing it, rent it out. Um, Also, when you do have individuals living there, whether it's, children or parents, it gives them separate living quarters. It gives them a sense of their own space. Now, this also helps the shortage of housing we have all across the country. And a couple things you should consider when you're thinking about these. There's different square footages that you're allowed to put on your home and develop as far as how big it could be, how many square feet. I would check with your city planning department. I would check with the laws of your city. I would check with your architect, your engineers, make sure that's aligned right and you can do it properly on your home. And you definitely want to check with your CPA to check out any tax implications. Now, if you don't have the space, but you have a nice home that you're looking to add multi-generational living, what do you do? Well, you can renovate a portion of your home. A most common one, and this is big in the Midwest and in the East, is that a lot of people have basements, right? You can finish off the basements. I've seen some just fabulous basements, and you can add a bathroom in there or a small kitchenette and have a possible entrance and exit on its own. The Another big one is what? A master bedroom downstairs, right? When you have a master bedroom and it has its bathroom, you may be able to carve up some area there, maybe throw in a small kitchenette, and also have its own entrance and exit by creating a door that has an access to the outside. Also, let's say you have you have one story and you're thinking about building. Think about building up if you have the ability to do that, and create a second story and see what the costs are on that and what the architect says, what the engineer says, and does that make sense for you? Is that within your budget to do? And maybe if you're not using them, you can rent one of the units out for some extra income. So there's a lot of ways to be creative. You also, here's a big one, is dividing the house. If you have a divisible home that can be broken up and has separate entrances, that may help out with multi-generational or rental income. So these are some ideas about multi-generational living. Very dear to my heart, as you can see, because I've had to deal with a couple of the issues that I'm sure many of you have had to deal with. I'm Clay Robison, your mortgage sensei. I serve and support home buyers in 49 states. If you would like further clarity on this topic, please book a call with me below.